First Contact and Invasion. The Voidborn Collective's scout vessel emerged from the dimensional fold with a silent ripple that distorted the stars beyond Mars' orbit. Inside the crystalline command chamber, First Observer Krolax studied the blue-green planet with cold calculation. His 6 eyes, arranged in a perfect hexagon, narrowed as data streams flowed directly into his neural network. Assessment, asked Overseer Mithnar, her voice resonating through the telepathic link shared among the command crew. Primitive, Krelax responded, manipulating the holographic display with elegant, elongated fingers. Class D civilization, pre-dimensional travel, fractured governance systems, minimal orbital defenses, predominantly carbon-based life forms with average lifespans under 1 century. Mithnar's facial ridges pulsed with blue bioluminescence, a sign of satisfaction among the Voidborn. Resource evaluation. Exceptional, Krelax replied. Water reserves alone justify harvest operations. Mineral diversity exceeds expectations. Atmospheric composition indicates terraforming would be unnecessary for our colonists. The Overseer moved to the viewing portal, her translucent exoskeleton catching the distant sunlight. And their defensive capabilities. Negligible. Nuclear fission weapons. Primitive projectile-based combat vehicles. No unified planetary defense network. Krelax's mandibles clicked in what passed for amusement among his kind. They waste resources fighting amongst themselves. Perfect. Mithnar activated the ship-wide communication system. Prepare harvest protocols. Mark this world as Acquisition Target 7239. Begin preliminary scans and deploy observation drones. Full invasion fleet to be summoned within 1 planetary rotation. As silent observation craft detached from the scout vessel and descended toward Earth, neither Krelax nor Mithnar could know that their seemingly flawless assessment had missed the most critical factor of all. Commander Elise Chen stood at the window of the Sentinel Array Command Center, buried 2 kilometers beneath the Rocky Mountains. At 43, she had spent almost half her life in this facility, overseeing humanity's most classified project. Now, the moment she had prepared for had arrived. They're here, she said, not turning away from the displays showing multiple unknown objects entering Earth's atmosphere. Director Malcolm Okafor, representative of the United Nations Space Defense Council, stepped beside her. His normally composed demeanor showed cracks of apprehension. "Are you certain these are the visitors the incident predicted?" he asked. Chen nodded. 17 years ago, the Tunguska anomaly showed us flashes of this exact moment. The Council called me crazy when I first presented the findings. That was before the quantum resonance patterns were verified. Okafor conceded. Before we knew what you discovered in that crater. The commander turned to face the room, where 24 of the world's brightest minds monitored stations displaying data most of humanity didn't know existed. Status report on Nexus. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura, head of the Quantum Integration Division, looked up from his console. Nexus cores are running at optimal capacity. All 37 nodes are synchronized and ready. And the integration specialists. Dr. Sofia Rodriguez, Neural Interface Program Director, stepped forward. All 2,183 volunteers worldwide are in position and ready to activate when given the signal. Chen nodded and addressed the room. For 17 years, we've prepared for this moment. When the Tunguska anomaly opened a temporary window to possible futures, we saw what was coming. We've built our defenses not with missiles and warships, but with something the aliens will never expect: the human mind, augmented and connected through quantum entanglement. She activated the central display, showing a global map with glowing points representing the Nexus nodes and the thousands of integration specialists positioned around the world. Activate Protocol Firewall. Alert all participating governments that first contact protocols have failed. We are at war. Deep in the Amazon rainforest, Dr. Maya Santos sat cross-legged on the floor of a specially constructed chamber. The structure appeared primitive from outside. a simple wooden building that blended with the indigenous architecture of the region. Inside, however, it housed technology beyond anything publicly known. At the center of the room, a crystalline structure pulsed with soft blue light, the nexus node she had been assigned to protect and operate. Her eyes closed as the neural interface at the base of her skull warmed slightly, connecting her consciousness to the global nexus network. Node 17 active. She subvocalized, the sensitive microphone implanted in her larynx picking up the vibrations. Integration Specialist Santos ready for synchronization. Similar scenes played out in hidden locations worldwide, beneath the ice of Antarctica, in a monastery in Tibet, in a skyscraper in Singapore, in the basement of a suburban home in Toronto. Men and women from every nation, chosen for their unique neurological patterns, activated their connections to the nexus. In orbit, Krelax was the first to notice the anomaly. "Overseer, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from the surface," he reported, his confidence giving way to confusion. "They appear to be connecting." "Elaborate," Mithnar demanded. "The signatures are quantum in nature, but they don't match any technology we've encountered. They seem to be originating from biological sources, from the humans themselves." Before Mithnar could respond, the ship's systems flickered. Displays glitched with strange patterns. The environmental controls surged erratically. "What's happening?" the Overseer demanded. Krelax worked frantically at his station. "Something is accessing our systems. It's not a conventional cyber intrusion. It's as if their minds are reaching directly into our technology." "Impossible," Mithnar hissed. "No species has demonstrated such capabilities since the architects," Krelax finished, genuine fear now evident in his voice. "Overseer, the historical archives mentioned a lost colony of the architects, a genetic experiment abandoned in this sector eons ago." On the bridge of the scout vessel, alarms blared as systems began failing in sequence. Propulsion, weapons, life support, all compromised not by weapons or viruses, but by human minds connected through the Nexus network. In the Sentinel Array Command Center, Chen watched as the integration specialists worked their miracle. Through the Nexus, these specially trained individuals were able to perceive alien technology as extensions of their own consciousness, manipulating it with thought alone. "It's working," Okafor whispered, watching as the alien scout ship systems failed one by one. "This is just the beginning," Chen replied. "The scout is small. When their main fleet arrives, we'll face the real test." On screens throughout the command center, satellite imagery showed the alien vessel tumbling out of controlled orbit. Its sleek design, reminiscent of a manta ray cast in obsidian, now sparked with energy discharges as the craft's internal systems turned against it. "Commander," Dr. Nakamura called out, "the vessel is transmitting a powerful signal, directed outward from the solar system." Chen's expression hardened. "They're calling for reinforcements. How long do we have?" "Based on the signal strength and direction, I estimate 72 hours before a response force arrives. Then we have 3 days to prepare for the real invasion." Chen turned to Okafor. "Contact all participating governments. We need to bring online every Nexus node we have, activate every reserve integration specialist, and place our conventional forces on high alert." As the alien scout vessel plummeted toward Earth's atmosphere, breaking apart under the strain of uncontrolled re-entry, humanity prepared for the coming storm. The Voidborn had categorized Earth as an easy conquest, but they were about to learn a painful lesson about underestimating humans. 3 days later, the dimensional fold opened again, not with a subtle ripple, but with a massive tear in space-time that was visible as a purple gash in the night sky to naked eyes on Earth. From this wound in reality emerged the Voidborn Harvest Fleet, 12 massive carrier vessels, each disgorging hundreds of fighter craft and dropships. Fleet Commander Dravkor, pride of the Voidborn military, watched impassively as his armada assembled in high Earth orbit. "Status of the scout vessel?" he asked his second-in-command. "Lost, Commander," Final transmission indicated some form of unprecedented defense system. Dravkor's facial ridges pulsed with red light. Irritation. Impossible. The observation data classified this world as defenseless. Prepare the first wave. I want ground forces deployed to their most populous cities immediately. Commander, his tactical officer interjected. Perhaps we should conduct further scans before. Are you questioning my orders? Dravkor's voice took on a dangerous edge. This is a Class D civilization. Their most advanced weapons can barely reach their own moon. Deploy the first wave now. As the invasion force descended toward Earth, Commander Chen stood in the expanded command center, now bustling with military personnel from a dozen nations alongside the scientific team. The Nexus network had grown over the past 3 days, with emergency protocols activating reserve nodes and specialists. They're coming in fast, General Williams of the United States Space Force reported. Conventional forces are in position, but against this much firepower, Chen nodded. They're just the backup plan. Nexus is our primary defense. She activated her communication link. All integration specialists, prepare for full synchronization. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. Around the world, 5,000 integration specialists, nearly double the initial number, connected to the Nexus. Each one was able to perceive and interact with a portion of the alien technology descending upon Earth. Some focused on navigation systems, others on weapons, still others on life support and communications. As the first wave of void-borne dropships entered Earth's atmosphere, they encountered not missiles or fighter jets, but something far more devastating: the collective mental force of humanity. Channeled through technology the aliens didn't understand. Dropships veered off course, crashing into oceans or unpopulated areas. Weapons systems shut down or fired upon their own vessels. Communication networks dissolved into chaos as human minds rewrote the very foundations of alien technology. On his flagship, Dravkor watched in disbelief as his carefully orchestrated invasion disintegrated into chaos. What is happening? He roared, his composure shattered as displays showed his forces being decimated without a single conventional weapon being fired against them. Commander, his science officer reported, voice trembling, we're detecting the same energy signatures that the scout reported. They're stronger now, more numerous. They appear to be human minds, somehow interfacing directly with our technology. Impossible, Dravkor whispered, but the evidence was undeniable. Somehow, the humans had developed abilities that hadn't been seen in the galaxy since the legendary architects. The ability to commune with technology on a fundamental level, to reshape it with thought alone. Retreat, he finally ordered, his pride giving way to survival instinct. Recall all surviving craft. We need to report this to the collective immediately. But as his flagship attempted to reopen the dimensional fold, he discovered that even this most fundamental of void-borne technologies had been compromised. The humans were in his ship's systems, preventing escape. Earth's first extraterrestrial war had begun, and humanity's secret weapon, the latent potential that had lain dormant in human DNA until awakened by the Tunguska anomaly, was proving more powerful than anyone could have imagined. The counterattack. Fleet Commander Dravkor had never experienced defeat. In 3 centuries of service to the Voidborn Collective, he had subjugated 17 worlds and exterminated the populations of 3 others that had resisted beyond acceptable parameters. As he stood on the command deck of his crippled flagship, watching his invasion force disintegrate before even reaching their targets, he struggled to comprehend what was happening. Analysis, he demanded, his usually melodic voice now harsh with stress. His science officer, Venture, looked up from her station, her facial ridges pulsing with anxiety. Commander, the humans are somehow interfacing directly with our technology. They're not hacking our systems. They're communing with them, as if speaking the same quantum language our technology is built upon. That's impossible, Dravkor insisted, though the evidence before him suggested otherwise. No species besides the Voidborn has mastered quantum manipulation at that level. Except the architects, Venture said softly. The ancient records speak of their ability to merge consciousness with technology. The command deck went silent. The architects were a forbidden subject, the species that had nearly destroyed the Voidborn eons ago before mysteriously vanishing from the galaxy. You suggest these humans are? Dravkor couldn't finish the question. I'm saying they demonstrate abilities consistent with architect descendants. A forgotten seed world, perhaps, where their genetics were left to evolve in isolation. Dravkor's mind raced. If the humans were indeed related to the architects, this changed everything. This wasn't just a routine harvest operation anymore. It was potentially an existential threat to the collective itself. All vessels, he commanded, his decision made. Withdraw to lunar orbit. Prepare defensive formations. We must reassess our approach. But as his ships attempted to retreat, they discovered another problem. The humans weren't just defending. They were now taking control. In the expanded Sentinel Array Command Center, Commander Chen watched as the integration specialists pushed beyond defense into offensive operations. We've established stable connections to 7 of their capital ships, Dr. Rodriguez reported, monitoring the neural activity of the specialists. Propulsion systems are under our partial control. Chen nodded, her expression grim but determined. What about weapons? That's proving more difficult, Dr. Nakamura interjected. Their weapon systems have biological components tied directly to Voidborn operators. We can disable them, but not yet redirect them. General Williams pointed to a tactical display showing the alien fleet attempting to retreat to a lunar orbit. We can't let them regroup. Once they understand what they're facing, they'll adapt. Agreed, Chen said. Dr. Rodriguez, have the specialists prevent their withdrawal where possible. General, prepare our conventional forces for engagement with any vessels that land or crash. As the orders were relayed, Chen stepped away for a moment, finding a quiet corner of the vast command center. She touched the small pendant at her neck, a piece of crystalline material found at the Tunguska site 17 years ago. It had changed everything when they discovered it could amplify certain neural patterns in the human brain, awakening abilities that had lain dormant in human DNA for countless generations. Commander, Director Okafor's voice pulled her from her thoughts. United Nations Security Council is requesting a direct briefing. And there's something else you should see. He led her to a monitoring station where Dr. Lai, their chief xenobiologist, was analyzing data from the alien vessels. We're detecting massive power buildups in their flagship, Dr. Lai explained. Based on energy signatures, they appear to be preparing some form of large-scale weapon. Chen studied the readings. Target: unknown, but given the energy levels, it could potentially impact a significant portion of Earth's surface. The commander straightened, decision made. It's time for Phase 2. Activate the Nexus Prime. In the heart of the Rocky Mountain complex, far below the command center, lay a chamber that only 12 people in the world had ever seen. At its center stood a crystalline structure identical to the material of Chen's pendant, but vastly larger, a 20-meter spire of transparent crystal that pulsed with inner light. Dr. Maya Santos had been recalled from the Amazon node specifically for this moment. As the specialist with the strongest neural connection to the Nexus network, she alone could initiate Nexus Prime. She sat in a specially designed chair at the base of the crystal spire, surrounded by medical monitoring equipment and quantum computers. The neural interface at the base of her skull connected to a more complex apparatus that would link her mind directly to the Nexus Prime. Are you ready, Dr. Santos? Chen asked through the communication system. Maya took a deep breath. As ready as anyone can be to mentally interface with an alien crystal of unknown origin that will connect my consciousness to 5,000 other humans and an alien fleet. Chen allowed herself a small smile despite the gravity of the situation. Your sense of humor remains intact. That's a good sign. Just make sure someone waters my plants if this turns my brain to mush, Maya replied, then closed her eyes. Initiating Nexus Prime synchronization. The crystal spire began to pulse more rapidly as Maya's consciousness expanded through the Nexus network. Unlike the regular integration specialists, who could each connect to a single system or vessel, Nexus Prime would allow her to coordinate the entire network, functioning as a central hub for humanity's mental defense. In orbit, the effect was immediate and dramatic. All 7 capital ships that had been partially under human control now came to a complete stop. Their weapons powered down. Life support systems stabilized. The Voidborn crew found themselves passengers in their own vessels. On his flagship, Dravkor received increasingly desperate reports from his fleet. "Commander, we've lost control of vessels 7 through 13, his tactical officer reported. Communications from those ships indicate the crews are alive, but unable to operate any systems. Before Dravkor could respond, the lights on his own flagship flickered. Gravity wavered momentarily. Display screens went blank, then reactivated, showing a single message in perfect Voidborn script. "We wish to communicate." Maya Santos felt her consciousness expand beyond anything she had previously experienced. Through Nexus Prime, she could perceive every integration specialist worldwide, every alien vessel in orbit, and most importantly, the thoughts and intentions of the Voidborn commanders. "I can see them," she said, her voice transmitted to the command center. "I can see how their minds work, how they think. They're afraid, Commander Chen. Not just of us, but of what we represent." "Can you communicate with them?" Chen asked. "Yes, but it's difficult. Their thought patterns are alien. Give me a moment." In the flagship's command center, Dravkor and his officers watched as their primary display reconfigured itself to show the image of a human female with features that suggested mixed Earth ancestries. "I am Dr. Maya Santos, speaking on behalf of Earth," the image said in perfect Voidborn language. "Your invasion has failed. Your technology has been compromised. We now control 7 of your vessels and can disable the rest at any time." Dravkor approached the display, his composure partially recovered. "How is this possible? What are you?" "We are human," Maya replied simply. "What you're witnessing is our defensive capability, awakened when we detected your scout vessel." "No primitive species could develop such technology," Dravkor insisted. "We didn't develop it," Maya explained. "We evolved it. The ability was always within us, dormant until needed." The implication struck Dravkor like a physical blow. "You are of the architect bloodline." "We don't know what we are," Maya admitted. "Only that when threatened, humanity found the strength to defend itself in ways even we didn't expect." In the Nexus Prime chamber, Maya could sense the alien commander's thoughts shifting from conquest to survival. Through the expanded consciousness that Nexus Prime provided, she could understand their history, their fears, their societal structure, particularly their ancient terror of the architects who had nearly destroyed their civilization long ago. "Commander Chen," she communicated separately to the command center. "I understand them now. The Voidborn Collective is built on conquest. They believe it's their right to harvest less advanced worlds. But they fear one thing above all else, the return of those they call the architects. And they think we're related to these architects." Chen asked. "They know we are, and they're terrified." In orbit, an uneasy standoff had developed. The 7 captured Voidborn vessels remained under human control, while the remaining fleet held position, weapons armed but dormant. Dravkor had retreated to his private chamber to consult with the collective leadership through a quantum communication device. The conversation was not going well. "You suggest we retreat from a Class D world." A High Overseer's voice dripped with disdain. "No Harvest commander has ever abandoned an acquisition. With respect, High Overseer, this is not a standard situation," Dravkor argued. "These humans demonstrate architect abilities. The evidence suggests they may be descendants of." "Do not speak of such things," the High Overseer interrupted. "The architects are gone. Their threat ended millennia ago." "Then how do you explain what we're experiencing?" Dravkor demanded. "My ships are being controlled by human minds. My weapons rendered useless. If this isn't architect technology, what is it? A long silence followed before the High Overseer spoke again, voice now lower and more serious. You are authorized to deploy the nullifier. Eradicate all life on the surface. We cannot risk the spread of such abilities. The communication ended, leaving Dravkor alone with an impossible choice. Follow orders and attempt genocide, likely failing in the process, or seek another solution. On Earth, Commander Chen received urgent information from Maya through the Nexus Prime connection. They're planning to deploy something called a nullifier, Maya reported. From what I can gather from their minds, it's a weapon designed to eradicate all complex neural activity on a planet's surface. It would kill not just humans, but all advanced life forms on Earth. Chen's blood ran cold. Can they deploy it? They're trying to activate it now on their flagship, but I'm blocking them. However, I can't maintain this level of control indefinitely. The strain on the integration specialists is growing, and my own connection to Nexus Prime has limitations. Chen turned to her team. Options. General Williams stepped forward. If we can't maintain control, we should use the captured ships as weapons, ram them into the others. That would kill thousands of Voidborn crew members who are essentially hostages now, Dr. Nakamura objected. Better them than billions of humans, Williams countered. Before the argument could continue, Maya's voice cut through again. There's another option. I can see it in their commander's mind. He's conflicted. He fears us, but he also respects strength. I believe I can negotiate. What kind of negotiation? Chen asked. One that changes everything, Maya replied. Trust me. On the flagship, Dravkor was startled when Maya's image appeared again on his private chamber's display. Your leadership has ordered Earth's destruction, she said without preamble. But you question this path. Dravkor stiffened. How could you know that? The same way I'm speaking to you now, through the connection your people fear so much. Then you know I have no choice, Dravkor replied. The collective has spoken. There is always choice, Maya countered, especially when the alternative is mutual destruction. Make no mistake, Fleet Commander, if you attempt to deploy the nullifier, we will turn your entire fleet against itself. No one will survive to report back to your collective. Dravkor studied the human's image. What do you propose instead? An alliance, Maya said simply. The commander actually laughed, a rare sound from a Voidborn. Alliance? With a potential architect world. The collective would never agree. The collective doesn't need to know everything, Maya suggested. Your report could indicate that Earth demonstrated unexpected defenses that made harvesting too costly. You withdrew to preserve your fleet. Meanwhile, a small diplomatic contingent remains to study this unusual world. And what would Earth gain from this deception? Time, Maya answered. Time to understand our own abilities. Time to prepare for the day when the collective learns the truth and sends a larger force. And in you, we gain an ally who understands Voidborn technology and politics. Dravkor was silent for a long moment. And why would I betray my people this way? Because you've seen what we can do, Maya replied. And you know this is just the beginning. The architects may be gone, but their legacy lives on in humanity. Would you rather face that legacy as an enemy or ally? 3 days later, Commander Chen stood on a specially constructed platform at the former Vandenberg Air Force Base, watching as a single Voidborn shuttle descended from the fleet now departing Earth orbit. Beside her stood world leaders and military officials from every major nation, united by the shared experience of near invasion. Are we sure about this? President Hidalgo of the North American Union asked quietly. As sure as we can be, Chen replied. Dr. Santos convinced him that cooperation offers better prospects for survival than conflict. And the rest of their fleet, returning to the collective with a carefully crafted report about Earth's unexpected and costly defenses. Dravkor will claim he made the pragmatic choice to retreat rather than expend more resources on a difficult acquisition. The shuttle touched down, its obsidian surface reflecting the California sunlight. After a moment, a hatch opened, and Fleet Commander Dravkor emerged, followed by a small delegation of void-born scientists and diplomats. As the alien commander approached, Chen stepped forward to meet him. No human had ever stood face-to-face with a void-born before. Dravkor towered over her, nearly 8 feet tall, his translucent exoskeleton revealing hints of the complex circulatory system beneath. "Commander Chen," he greeted her, the void-born language translated through devices developed with Nexus assistance. "On behalf of this expeditionary scientific mission, I thank Earth for its hospitality." Chen nodded, playing along with the fiction that would be reported to the Voidborn Collective. "We welcome peaceful scientific exchange." As formal introductions continued, Dr. Maya Santos watched from a distance, still connected to Nexus Prime, but at a reduced capacity. Through this connection, she could sense Dravkor's genuine curiosity about humanity now mixing with his fear. He had made his choice, to learn from the descendants of the architects rather than feudally oppose them. Maya knew this was just the beginning. The Voidborn Collective would eventually learn the truth. Earth would need to prepare, to develop its newfound abilities, to reach for the stars not just with technology, but with the power of the human mind itself. They had been dismissed as easy prey, a defenseless world ripe for conquest. Instead, humanity had revealed itself as something far more significant, inheritors of an ancient legacy that would change the galaxy forever. In the vastness of space, other civilizations would soon learn what the Voidborn had discovered at great cost. Earth was not to be underestimated. Humanity's greatest weapon had always been within, waiting only for the right moment to awaken.